that's what's happening.
Cool. All right. Well, I just started the recording too. I forgot to do that in the midst of everything. So welcome everybody. Brian G. Johnson's in the house. We got a whole bunch of great people. You guys can jump in and ask questions. And Brian is a bud who I've known for a handful of years and has just been an inspiration, man. He is not only a best-selling author of The Trust Funnel, which I had here a minute ago, but it's back there. Yeah, and he's got my book,
It's
Bacon.
not about you. It's about bacon.
Yes, that's right, baby. It's all about bacon at CBS, Bacon Studios, Central Bacon Studios. So you got a copy of your book, Andy? Pull it up.
It's
there
all.
You go.
It's not about you.
That's my book.
It's not about me, Brian. It's not about me. So it's about bacon.
Well, okay. In that case, then I got to go get it here because it's sitting right here. Because this is the book I'm talking about. If you've never read this book, people, The Trust Funnel, go get it right now on Amazon. This is an amazing, amazing, amazing book. It is by far one of my favorite books on internet marketing. And you got some amazing stories in there, especially, who would think of you as a chef? I would think of you as a scientist more than a chef, because you like concocting things. But I guess, kind of a chef is kind of science, isn't it? It's blending tastes and food and stuff like that. So
it's all about creation, right? Being creative and creating things. Exactly.
So how'd you go from being a chef to this killer internet marketer, dude?
Well, before I was a chef, Brian, before I was a chef, I was really interested in creating this really fun and engaging and epic life. And I can remember sitting in class thinking about the things I could do. And I heard I could be a doctor, a lawyer, I could work with my hands, I could build things, I could be a carpenter. And then I heard about like working for yourself and the word entrepreneur. I was probably 8 years old, but working for yourself, I could comprehend that. And I thought, well, that sounds a lot cooler than working for someone else and taking instruction from someone else. I'd rather create my own life. So I started trying a lot of different things, and I failed and I failed and I failed and I failed again. But when I got to that internet thing, I wasn't too serious. I was kind of like, this seems pretty cool. And I had little bits of success. But when I really got serious and when I staked my claim, right, when I decided that it will be, and I began focusing on creating an asset, which was a website, that's when things started to change. And the very first thing I focused on wasn't the money, because in order to get the money, you've got to do certain things. Mm-hmm. So instead of the money, I focused on driving traffic, building an audience, and that's where I got started. And that's really what led me to the life of entrepreneurship.
Which is much better than a life of crime.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're both very exciting. So...
So now you're working on new website, new book, and so tell us a little bit about the new book and what started you down that path. I mean, I know it, but I think maybe our audience doesn't. So
for me, again, it's really about what is the thing that I'm excited about. And what I like to do is just poll other people, other peers, and get their feedback and just kind of wander through life until it sticks. An idea, a trajectory, forget that word, a goal that will get me to where I want to go. And I kept hearing from people that they really like my videos. Like, your book is awesome, Brian, but when I see you on video, it's so captivating and you're just kind of goofy, but then you say something and I'm like, wow, that was really poignant and it makes a lot of sense. So it's kind of like life keeps tapping me on the shoulder and saying, this might be a good way to go. Mm-hmm. And I had never really focused all my attention on video and specifically YouTube. Now, at the same time, I've uploaded thousands of videos, but I never really tried to grow a YouTube channel. I had been able to, been able to rank in YouTube and Google for different search terms. And, and people have said, Brian, I joined your program because I kept seeing you on YouTube and you were doing well and I've been struggling. And time again, people have said the thing that they connect with me and made it easy for people to follow me and learn about me was video. And this was in the fall of last year. So my book had been out, Trust Funnel had been out for about 6 months. And I was just kind of looking for that next thing. And I thought, well, okay, that's awesome. And in the summer, I started really thinking about my platform, and I wanted to come out with a website that was more about Brian G. Johnson. Currently, my website is Marketing Easy Street. And what's awesome about that site is it does drive traffic. It's driving opt-ins. But I wanted a website like Marketing Easy Street sounds like 1,000 million other websites. And that's one of the things that I think is important, is to try to separate yourself from everybody. Mm-hmm. And Brian, you've done such a great job with that because you understand branding and you understand that it's our job as entrepreneurs to make it really easy for people to remember.
And he's off.
I need you, Otis, be very careful. Otis. Okay, everything is okay. Is to make it really easy for people to remember us. Mm-hmm. And for me, I talk about memorable messenger, creating a message that sticks.
Right.
So with Brian G. Johnson, I'll be able to do that easily because it's my name and the branding and everything. So, and I need to catch my breath.
Well, that was a very fast.
You guys can only see the studio. I've got a light and a light's up here. It's over there. There's a light. There's a light. There's another light. And there's all these wires. And then you've got a manic marketer. And then you've got 2 poodles. And right. It's not a good recipe.
Yeah, well, see, and that's the thing about you, man. It's like you've got your brand so well established. And that's something I really appreciate is you've got pixie dust, baby, poof. And then you've got your poodle wrangling. And then, you use that so well. Just like when it was Otis's birthday. And it was Amanda's birthday, and so you're able to use Amanda in your stuff, your house in your stuff, and then Otis and Olive got their own birthday cakes, and they had the poodle party hats, and I know, and it's like, but it's such a great brand, and I had to learn that lesson when I first started the Bacon podcast. It was originally called My Marketing Magnet because I was kind of like the Marketing Easy Street. I thought I needed to do something that was a little bit more generic. Because people wouldn't get the whole bacon thing. And then what I found out is people didn't get the My Marketing Magnet thing. As soon as I changed it to the Bacon podcast, the traffic just went through the roof. And so it's really just staying true to what that brand is and knowing who you are and making the most of it. That's really been, what I consider to be a success formula. And I've seen it in you so much. You've done a great job with that.
And for me, it's just about doing the work. And the reason I'm going to say this is there's probably going to be one person that is hearing this and they're thinking, I don't know about I don't have the poodles in my brand. I don't have the bacon in my brand. I don't really understand my brand. And the thing about that, if there's that one person that watches the replay or is watching now, you don't get to figure that out until you start to do.
Right.
And for me, it's so easy because I have 2 dogs. It's not like I didn't get a couple dogs for my branding. I got a couple dogs because I love dogs. It's nice to go out for a walk. It's nice to have companions when I work at home alone. Mm-hmm. And it's not like I'm trying to invent this great story. It's me taking what I have
right
from where I'm at and doing the best I can to move forward and tell a story that's memorable and fun, So it's really about just getting started. And along the way, you will develop your own brand, your own personality. And it's really having the courage to do that, to step up to the plate and knowing that you have something to share. And there is just maybe one person out there that will benefit. And you start with the one, and that's how it starts. And then maybe a year into it, you start really learning about what your brand is. What saddens me is I see so many people that are trying to figure everything out, and they're going to get started as soon as they figure it out. And you don't figure it out. You never figure it out. You only improve. And that's why it's so critical to start right now, today, and to stake your claim.
Mm-hmm. Now, see, one of the things that I think that's really super important to understand is, number one, you said you don't figure it out. I find it figures out you. The more you do it, the more you do it. And then, the other thing about that personal branding that you brought up about Olive and Otis and Amanda, it's basically having integrity. It's being who you are. It's being authentic. And that in the world of internet marketing, where there's so many people out there saying, hey, I've got this great scheme that I'm going to teach you how to do Facebook ads and you're going to get rich today. Buy my crap. But that's not authentic. That's all marketing. It's hype. It's all this other stuff. Where one of the things I've learned about you is you are sincerely nice, and you really care about the people that you work with, and you want them to be successful. Your goal is to help other people achieve their dreams. And that to me is an incredible, authentic brand that you live and you do. And that's one of the reasons why you're one of my best buds, man, because we're brothers from another mother. That's the way I look at it.
You know what, Brian? There's no question about that, man. I really appreciate you. And the thing that I love about you is you set everybody on notice. And this is one of the things that great leaders do. I am the greatest. I float like a butterfly, and baby, I'm pretty. And Muhammad Ali, before he was the greatest, he claimed it.
Right.
And that was something that he had to live up to. And, as humans, we don't expect perfection. And the thing that we'll gravitate towards is people striving to do great things. That's plenty for us. And you did that. And you just said, hey, I'm here. I am going to do this thing. I'm going to dedicate my time. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to support and help other people. And you did that really, really well.
Thank you.
I want to get back to the story about like the whole YouTube thing.
Yeah, please.
So basically, there I was in the fall, and people had been telling me I'm good on video, and I'd never really tried to get results with video. So I thought, what I'm going to do is I've got the new website coming out. I'm working on that. It's going fantastic. I went and did a new photo shoot here in town for the website and for the new branding. I hired a graphics designer. We created a logo I absolutely love. The logo,
I do too. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. The logo is me. And again, this is how you create an awesome logo. You don't create an awesome logo because you like blue and pink and green and the combinations. You create a logo that represents your brand, who you are, that authenticity that you share. And as I began to do these things, I thought, well, I bet you as I roll out a new Twitter account, as I roll out a new YouTube account, I am going to focus on video. And a really great way to kind of supercharge would be to create an ebook about what I've learned about video marketing to this point. Because again, I've got a bunch of channels. I've driven millions of views. I've got a cooking channel that's got crazy views. So I started writing an ebook, and then I was like, I started just getting in the zone, and I'm like, this is beyond an ebook, and that's just kind of how I work. I'm not good at just quick little things. I like big epic productions. So I fired an email off to my publisher, and he said, wow, this sounds like a great book. And really the book is what I've learned in the last 7 years about video marketing. That's a big part of it. And then the other part is the story of me launching a YouTube channel and the growth that happens over a year. So I'll be honest, and it was really scary because I'm writing a book, and in the book, I'm talking about 25,000 subscribers in 1 year. And I knew there had to come a time when I launched the channel and started moving on getting that going. Now, originally, my goal was to see how far I could get with the book. And in 2 months, I wrote 40,000 words. And I did very well, but I still had plenty to go. So I got to the middle of February, and I said, well, I'm going to launch on March 1st. And maybe the book won't come out this year, but that's not what's most important to me. What's most important is I create something that I love. I have a lot of fun doing it, and I create something of value. And along the way, I'm creating a channel that'll be a huge asset, probably a bigger asset than the book. I don't know which will be bigger because you never know,
Right.
But that's kind of how the story came out. So, I launched the channel on March 1st, and a couple of things I want to share that I think is important is everybody that's on this Blab right now, so it looks like we have 8 or 9 people, has a discoverability score. So I want to share this idea that's actually in the new book I'm working on called Your Discoverability Score. And that discoverability score is based on what you've published in the past that's bringing new eyeballs, new people into your funnel. Being aware of you, subscribing to your email list, subscribing to your Blab account or your Twitter. It's really just increasing the awareness. And in my opinion, there is no other platform that has the sticking power and potential of YouTube. Okay, Blab is awesome. I love Blab. However, this particular Blab is not indexed on Google. None of the Blabs are indexed on Google. That means we can't be found on Google. And the only people that are going to find this Blab are people that are already on Blab. If you look at Periscope or Snapchat, those live streaming videos evaporate in 24 hours. Now, if you look at YouTube and you go search for something like best video editing software, you'll find a video by Daryl Eves that he published 3 years ago. Now, not only that, but this content can be indexed in Google. And as you release more and more videos, you can create an index, an archive of content that's highly discoverable. And that's really your discoverability score. And again, this is something that I had experience with because I saw it, how it impacted my results. So that was another big part of why YouTube and why I decided to focus on the YouTube platform.
And I love it. Now, see, one of the reasons that I do Blab is because Blab, when it's finished, will actually send you a video file and an audio file. I know people that use Blab to actually create podcasts. I take it and I take the Blab and put it up on YouTube just for that reason. And then I use that link and put it into my website, Blab with Bacon, so that gets indexed because it's got the YouTube content. So yeah, I mean, there's ways of using this stuff. It's all about I think the biggest thing that you said, YouTube is the #2 searched property, period, on the internet because it's owned by Google. And getting your content up there, making sure you're putting in the descriptions, creating a channel, doing something, it just helps you get found, your searchability index, which you started talking about. So it doesn't matter how you do it. It's just creating content in one way, shape, or form that's going to end up getting you found because you're playing the game, you're understanding the rules, you're joining the community, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to take that a step farther, and this is, I want to share something, and I want your feedback because we hear about repurposing, right? And how many entrepreneurs do you know that are taking media from other platforms, whether it's Blab or Twitter or Periscope, and their YouTube is blowing up?
I don't know many that their YouTube is blowing up with the repurposing, but I mean, creating the original content like what you do, I think is a lot more. I think has stronger value. Well,
I don't want to say stronger value. I think it's just understanding how each property works, and then creating content in a manner that's super amplified.
Yep.
To stick with my brand.
I like it.
And to inspire action. So one of the things that I teach people to do is when you're creating content, how can you amplify a message that inspires somebody to act? Because at the end of the day, nothing worthwhile online happens until other people act on the content you create. Whether you just want to create a channel on YouTube and it's comedy and you don't even think of yourself as a salesperson, but you just want to have fun, it doesn't happen until you inspire other people to act and to subscribe and to share your videos. If you are an entrepreneur and you want to make money, that doesn't happen until you inspire someone to act and click the buy button or to opt into your list. So my whole thing is to try to really identify what triggers are necessary on each of the platforms, and then to create content that will work really well. Let me give you an example. Alexi Panos does an amazing job at creating videos that she publishes both to Facebook and to YouTube. And in each video, she addresses each audience. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, tag a friend and share this message, because we need more messages of inspiration and love, and you can be a part of that. So that's one of the things that I think is really neat, is to dig into a platform, to understand how it really works and how you grow an audience on each individual platform, and then to work smart in order to make that happen. But honestly, here's the thing. I hear all these entrepreneurs talking about repurposing content, and nobody really knows how to do it well. I just don't believe it. And I'm sorry. I mean, you can spend time creating a Periscope and then hurrying up and uploading it over here and then posting it over there. And if it doesn't get you better results, then you might be spending a lot of time and energy trying to get big on everywhere, where what I've always done, what works very, very well, is to focus on one thing at a time. So I started writing the book, and I focused on that for 2 months. When I launched Trust Funnel, I focused on launching Trust Funnel for a number of months, and the payoff was awesome. And you're doing that right now too, Brian. You're really, like, to me, I'm thinking of one platform that is your mainstay. That is the thing that you focus on. Right. And I want to know what that is. That's
the Bacon Podcast. My podcast is my thing.
That was what was in my mind, the podcast. Right. So instead of trying to do everything, really understand what your bread and butter is, and what is the platform that you're going to use to create something that's going to explode your brand. Because if you're trying to do all of it at the same time and you're not getting results, you won't, because people don't gravitate to mediocrity. So you really need to figure out, like, where am I going to draw the line in the sand? And, I switch around, but I don't switch around until I've got something really established. So like Facebook, I've got a heck of a following on Facebook, and I'm able to, and so do you, Brian. So anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you in a lot of different ways, but I think, repurposing is one thing, where you create, like, the podcast, and then you try putting it, other things, add slides to it or something like that. But having a system, which is what my next book, The Bacon System, is about, is really about understanding that you're going to have different audiences in different places. One of the things I've learned is that I create this podcast, but I also get them transcribed. And part of my audience says, you know what, I really love the transcriptions because I can skim it faster than sitting there listening to it. So what I've started to do is take the transcriptions, put them front and forward inside of the podcast, and then have a read more button. So if people want to read it, they can read it. It's taking that content and putting it in a position where you're going to get the largest audience reach. And I've learned over the years, some people love watching videos. Some people just love listening to podcasts. That's what they do. I listen to podcasts when I walk my dog every single day. And that's how I learn. I just listened to an interview with you and Connie Reagan Green not too long ago. Love that. So that's how I learn things. But some people like to read. Some people would rather read than listen to a podcast. So I think it's more about taking the content that you've already created and using it in a way that's going to distribute it to the largest audience. I also take that podcast, and I still haven't found the answer to this. If anybody online that can help me figure this out, it'd be awesome. But I literally listen to it and then type it in and turn it into a blog. Same content, but I just happen to put it into a blog that's forward-facing. So now inside of Facebook, I've got 2 podcasts a week and a blog, and then I've got an email digest that sends out, here's all the content I created this week. It's all pretty much the same thing. Find it where you want. So that to me is kind of the system. And that's where I think I get the most out of it.
Totally awesome. And I think that's super smart. And I think that's a great place to get to. But at the same time, you made, from what I can tell, and tell me if I'm off base, but you've made a conscious decision that I'm really going to focus on a podcast. And I don't know, but I'm curious, because I'm starting to think this is getting to be a pretty cool conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
If you had to guess, Brian, where would you say most of the people, the new people that are coming into your trust funnel, the people that are discovering you, where do you think the majority, or I don't know if there's a majority, is it 20%? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's a whole bunch of different ways. I think a lot of people, the newest people, are gravitating towards the podcast because podcasts, quote unquote, are hot, just like YouTube is hot right now. But the way I'm getting to those new people is honestly by being interviewed by other people. is people that bring me in front of their audience, and then all of a sudden they say, okay, this guy's got a podcast, let me check it out, and then I've got a great intro on it, and it was done by Scott Smith, a professional voiceover guy, who just kicked butt on it, and now it sounds professional and it gives me credibility. That's the point of entry, is that podcast. But the way I'm driving them there is a little bit through search, but it's more by being interviewed on other people's properties.
Well, and the other thing that you're doing really well is you're to me, I see you as you're on a number of platforms and you're there often and a lot, and you're creating content and you're doing it in a fun way that it's not just like sell. Yeah. It's really, it's like, this is so important on Facebook, is that so often I see newer people that are like, well, how are you monetizing that? And I think they have this idea that you build a website, it's got 6 posts on it, and then you have a product and people buy it and they buy it and they buy it. Versus what we do, which is like we show up on Facebook and we're live streaming a party with our poodles, or we're uploading a video of a networking meeting, and we're just talking about a lot of different things, and that grows our audience. And then when it is time to sell something, then when we put that out to that platform, people are interested because they've gotten to know, like, and trust us. So, and I think that's awesome, you know, how it's working for you. And I think that's really, really important. So, cool.
And again, you know, Jeff was talking, I'm looking at the comments, you know, he's talking about repurposing randomly or repurposing systematically. And systematically, by far, you know, it helps do things. And that's one of the things I'm really big on. I've learned that in order to be successful in business, you have to systematize. So an example of this is, and it goes back to what you said, that video that you put up of Otis and Olive, you know, eating their birthday cake was just incredible. And even Margaret Eve said she loved it. And a lot of people saw that. That's such a strong brand. And that's one of the things, like on Facebook, that I do. I do every single morning now. I've started to do the quote of the day. And the quote of the day actually just comes out of a program on my iPhone. I find a good quote that I think matches the flavor of the day. Today it was Muhammad Ali, and put the quote up. And that has gotten so much wonderful feedback, lots of shares. People love to be motivated. They love to, you know, feel important, to feel better about themselves. And that to me is, so I start off the morning with that, and then I end every evening with a caption contest of the day, which is the fun thing. And that consistency of doing things that people want to engage with, creating content that people love to engage with, is where it all starts. And that's why your videos are so wonderful, because every time I see you pop up, I know I'm going to get something of value. It's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to have some kind of juicy bacon bit nugget in there that I can walk away with. And so I know I'm getting value when I see you up there. That's where I think it really starts, is getting people to know, like, and trust you in that fashion.
Yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely. So it's all pretty exciting, and just having fun and growing the new channel. And what's really cool is that, you know, I mentioned writing this new book about YouTube and video marketing and the power of YouTube, with the goal of 25,000 subscribers in 1 year. And the first month was really hard. It wasn't hard in the beginning because I launched it and there's lots of buzz and people were excited and they knew it was coming. And at the same time, it was like, I'm learning a new DSLR camera, very technical. And I've got a white background, which takes the technical skills needed to pull it off even higher. And I'm learning Mac over the last year. I've really only been on a Mac maybe about 14 months. And I bought about 6 months Final Cut Pro, and I'm learning Final Cut Pro. And I'm really doing all these things that I know, if I stick with it, will allow me to get to that higher level in production value, which was really important to me. But at the same time, I've got this goal of 25,000. And then started this kind of inner battle with myself for wanting a creative, artistic outlet that is more than just creating a video about how to do something, but to do it in a fun style where people go, that guy really knows how to create cool videos. And that takes some time and some thought and some effort. And on top of that, I'm learning the DSLR and Final Cut Pro and the plugins. And also, I started learning that these types of videos, it's easy to take my iPhone and edit a fun video. Like I did one for Felicia's birthday, and people were like, that was really a cool video.
I saw it. Yep, that was cool.
I did that one in 40 minutes. That was just, 16 seconds. It was like I had an idea. I'm like, probably iPhone, a few apps, and that's pretty cool, 40 minutes. One of my 10-minute videos on Final Cut Pro is taking 25 hours of editing.
Right.
And I'm like, that's unacceptable. No, unacceptable. But at the same time, I had this need to prove to myself that I could create something at that level. So I'm kind of going through this. I'm an artist. I'm an entrepreneur. I need to publish and I need to get things done. And now I've met in the middle. And what's really cool is I know how to do this. And I know how to do this over here too. So now I can come in the middle and I can publish a 5-minute video that I spend 2 or 3 hours editing, or 90 minutes, which is totally fine. And the result is a cool video that looks great, is fun, is engaging, is it's not dated, and at the same time, it's driving those search results. And that was really important because, again, 25,000 subscribers. And as I got to in about month or week 6, I had 457 subscribers. And I'm like doing the math, and the math wasn't equaling 25,000 subscribers. And
but it's a bell curve. It's a bell curve. It's going to happen, It's
and it's like, okay, here's the thing about that, Brian. I get it, right? But we all inside of us have Spock and Captain Kirk. Okay, Spock is all, well, it's a bell curve. Logically, it's logical. Just keep going, no problem. Logically fascinating. Then there's Captain Kirk. He's sleeping with green alien women. He runs more off of like emotion, and he's like, do something. The Klingons are going to kill us. And he's freaking out. And Kirk is all, logically speaking, we should deviate. So it's like, you can know that, but to live in it is one thing, But then I got to share, I got to this place where I was like, Brian, you started writing this book to help people, and 25,000 subscribers is a wonderful goal. But the goal isn't to get 25,000 subscribers so you can say you got 25,000 subscribers. The goal is to do a case study over a year, to learn, to figure out what works, what doesn't work, strategies that allowed you to reach more people, get more subscribers. And along the way, part of that is struggling and explaining what was hard so people don't have to go through that. And when I got to that point, it's like, wait a minute, wake up. You're living inside of Captain Kirk. Go visit Spock for a while.
See, now the way I look at it, I love that. You got Spock over here, you got Captain Kirk over here, and then in the middle, you've got Sulu, who is George Takei, who is just one of the funniest dudes on the internet, period. I love that. And you bring up a really, really awesome point. And I think this is what takes people like you, people like Deborah and Jeff and Phil and Margaret and all the people that are on this podcast right now, whoever, all of you guys. It's about continuing to learn. It's about continuing to grow yourself as an entrepreneur and trying new things. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. I've been trying to figure out a way for, weeks now. How do I take my podcast without sending it to a transcription service and find some software that would convert that right into text on my desktop that I can edit? I have not found software to do it. I've made mistakes. I bought some software on iTunes or the Apple Store, and I downloaded it, and it did absolutely nothing. I was stupid. I didn't read the reviews, and the reviews were all bad. So, I could pay to get it transcribed, but I want it quicker. Just like you want to be able to edit quicker. You want to find that sweet spot, the shortcuts, the things that's going to help you get your job done in a way that suits you and your business and your time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you talk about transcriptions. I actually used a service to have my videos transcribed. And I tell you, a 20-minute transcription, the thought of doing that is like, just draw a warm bath in razor blades, and I rather that is more appealing than transcribing 20 minutes of me jibber jabbering. And then I got a text file back, and I started thinking, blog post, and that's original text and Google search rankings, and just how to, like you said, create that system.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And I got some advice, rev.com, on getting those transcriptions done. So I'll definitely be checking that out.
Actually.
You do?
Yeah, well, because we're brothers, remember?
Yep. Right. Awesome.
Can you?
Yep. So, what kind of things are you working on next? And, we know the book is coming up, the new website. And then I want to invite people, anybody, there you go. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, people. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe. Brian G. Johnson, look him up. Anybody want to jump in, ask any questions? Feel free to, come into the open seat, talk to B squared, B to the G. I always mix that up, man. I got dyslexia this morning, Monday mornings. B to the G to the J, or Bacon Boy.
It's all good, brother.
Yeah. Come on, jump on, anybody. Come say hi.
So, you asked what's next, and for me, it's like, I am locked in until March 1st of 2017. Now, I will continue with the book because I don't want the book to come out on, the June 9th of 2019.
Right.
But for the foreseeable future, and in fact, right now, this month, I'm super focused on YouTube because I created my system. Like what I did yesterday with editing a video was wicked cool. And you don't get there until you edit 20 videos or whatever you're doing. Like you've got a really solid system that took you a while to get to. And so now I've created that system. And now what I'm going to do over the next 30 days is I'm going to publish a boatload of really cool videos that will be helpful. And beyond a shadow of a doubt, I'll grow my channel because it's just a numbers game. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Some of the questions, let's see here. What's your favorite editing app that is also Android? Don't know. I've thought about maybe I need to get can you get an Android tablet, Brian? Probably, huh?
Yes. Yeah. That's Samsung tablets are out there. Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to subscribe to a service then. I just own the tablet and I can download apps.
Yep. Absolutely.
So maybe I'll check that out. But I'm an iPhone guy, Deborah. So for me, it's really, I will say this. Actually, I have some ideas. Try out Filmora. I've seen a lot of reviews and people saying nice things about the editing app for the Android system called Filmora.
Yeah, I'm the same way as you, Brian. I'm all Mac. I got everything down to the watch now, finally. So
Margaret says she's wondering, how much do I plan my content? I plan it a bit in advance, and really what I'm doing now is I do so much work on my iPad. I create all my graphics on my iPad. I create my YouTube thumbnails on my iPad. I create my social media graphics on my iPad. I edit really cool videos on my iPad using different apps. And my workflow right now is to jump in and to create a video based on what I'm inspired by. And this is really, I think personally, at least for me, is really the best way to go, because the thing that people, or let me say it another way, I think this is even better. The thing that will allow you to get the results you're after is when other people see you're really excited and inspired by something. And if you're following a list of videos based on search volume, really you're trying to figure out the fastest way to grow, which is good. However, the other side of the camera, the people that are watching your videos, if they see a video about something you're super excited about, or about something that's super fun and you created in a spontaneous time, and then you say, okay, I've created a video based on editing with an app, the iMovie app. What's the best way to ensure traffic? And then you do the research. So first I start with passion, and then I do research. And at the same time, anytime I start something new and I go into a new niche, I kind of want to know what's driving the niche. So I know on YouTube that people looking for help with the best apps for editing, or how to get more views on YouTube, or WordPress websites, these are all topics that are driving tons of volume, and they're things I'm excited about. So I know I can just kind of follow and have this general overview. and I'm aware of what's working and what's driving traffic. And when I'm inspired, that's when I snap into it. And that translates on the video I film. And I think that combination is powerful, and it's worked really well for me.
Mm-hmm. And Margaret asked, do you track your results by content topic?
Do I track my results? Oh, I think yes. So like as far as what types of videos are growing your channel more, this is super, super important. And one of the things to think about, if anybody is interested in like creating the YouTube channel, one of the things to think about is that there are basically different levels of commitment that people have when it comes to YouTube and how they leverage the platform. So at this side, because I don't know what side it is on where you're watching, is basically YouTube is where I stick the videos that I make. And I can put them there, and I can put them on my website. And the next level is like, I publish videos to YouTube, and YouTube's important, but it's not my primary. And then as we keep moving further away from like, this is where I stick my videos, you have a channel and you create a cohesive channel experience. And there's different types of content that are all important. So one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to create a video, stake your claim. What does that really mean? Because it's tied to my brand. Now, people aren't searching for stake your claim, but I've still tried to tweak things a bit. And after I got a few, I call it like phase 1 of Tube Ritual is creating videos that are going to go on your website, a video that's going to be used for a sales page. And you need to create those in order to run a business and to create opt-ins and a list. And once you have those few, then you really want to look at the content that is driving more search, and you want to create themed content based on that. And I think this is what you're asking about, Margaret. So one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to create videos based on my book launch, because I feel like if people watch those, they're going to go, wow, that guy knows what he's doing. That was some amazing strategy and ideas. However, like book marketing strategies is one of the top searches on YouTube if you look under book marketing or author. But on the scale, as far as internet marketing goes, it's lower. So if I stuck just to authorship, I would have a harder time hitting that 25,000 subscriber mark. So now what I'm transitioning to, because I've made that content, right? It's like, that's the content that people will watch and say, he's an authority figure, he's smart, he knows what he's doing. So I wanted that on my channel page. And at the same time, I have a need, and I want to teach WordPress because I love WordPress. I do WordPress, and it's super high search volume. So that's kind of where I'm going now. And if you go to my channel and look at it, you can kind of see the progression of me building out my channel. There's the channel trailer, which it doesn't get a lot of search volume, but when people land on your channel, it's going to increase the subscriber rate. So that's phase 1. Now I'm creating playlist of YouTube marketing, and there's a playlist of affiliate marketing. And that's kind of how I'm attacking that, the content and what's driving my results, which I will say is pretty cool, because right now I'm getting about 10 subscribers naturally from YouTube. So it's really starting to happen because of the content I'm publishing. Awesome.
And Deborah says that Samora is an Irish car parts site, but Filmora seems to be really cool.
No, yeah, it's Filmora.
Yeah. So, Phil, I know Phil is a ex-rock and roll dude. So back in the 60s and 70s, he did a lot of cool things with promotions. But then he asks, he's struggling because now he does promotional item, pens and tchotchkes and, you know, badges and T-shirts and golf balls and all that kind of stuff. And he says, you know, do you use your chef's hat to create content? If so, you know, what's the secret sauce? He's asking, how do you take the things you did in the past and kind of make what you're doing now sexy?
So one of the things about branding is there's really a few steps. And in fact, Phil, you've mentioned one of them, which is the creation story. It's where did you come from and what was it like before you got to where you are today? And to be able to tell that story in a fun and engaging way, and it provides insight and also makes your story relatable, because that's one of the biggest things that is really important in becoming an online marketer is, do people relate to you? And if the answer is yes, they're going to be more likely to take action, to inspire action on your content. Because if people can't relate to it, they can't see themselves doing it. So one of the things you need to think about, if you're creating content and let's say you've got a product and nobody's buying, there's really 2 or 3 reasons why. Number one, they don't believe the claims made by the product, and or they just don't feel, they're just not interested in it. So first, let's say, are they interested in the topic? If the answer is yes, they're interested, but they're not buying, then what could be the limitation? Well, if people don't relate to your style of marketing, they're not going to buy. Example, if you see marketers driving around in Ferraris with girls with bikini tops on, with dudes with bling and rap music, you're not going to buy into that if that's not how you live your life. If you don't relate to that, the chances of you buying into that are slim. However, if you see someone and you feel like, gosh, I could sit down and have a beer with that guy, I understand where he's coming from, he seems like a normal dude who's been doing this for a while and has some results, that's relatable. So now we're a little bit closer to that buying decision because it's like, you can believe me. The other thing you have to do is the person has to be able to see themselves using the product, the strategy, the system, and getting results. Okay. So if I say, hey, check it out, I grew my channel to 1,000 people, and all I had to do was publish 2 videos a day and create videos that I spent 25 hours editing. Like if I say, how did you do that, Brian? Or if you ask me, how did you get 1,000 subscribers? I said, it was really easy. All I had to do was edit a video every other day that took me 25 hours. And I just published these videos. And if they were super high production, you'd have to say, holy smokes, for me to get those results, I need to create videos that are going to take me 25 hours to edit. That's not relatable, and you wouldn't buy into that. So sharing what you've done in the past and creating a story that people can relate to, and also then creating products and services that people can see themselves using. So if you talk about doing tchotchke kind of promotional products and you show people how fun it is to use them and they can see themselves using that in their market, like I love these kind of tchotchke things. I think more people should do this kind of stuff because it's helpful and it's fun and engaging. And if they can see themselves using it, I think you'll go far with that.
I agree. And I mean, sitting on my desk, I've got 2. I've got a Blab button and I got a ka-ching button.
Exactly.
So, blab, blab.
You know, they're fun. And the whole point of it is I think that, you know, to differentiate yourself is really super, super important. There's something called the blue ocean strategy. And the blue ocean strategy is you want to be in a place where nobody else is at, because all the sharks are eaten in the red ocean. And there's 1 million people doing video production. There's 1 million people doing internet marketing. There's 1 million people doing pens and notepads and all that other stuff. What you've got to do is you've got to find a way to take your brand and put it in a place where nobody else is doing it. That's the same kind of thing that happens with, it's the same kind of thing that happens with, oh, hold on. Let's see. There we go. I'm back. So it's the same kind of thing that happens with like Bob Vila, who did This Old House. There's bunches of people that do remodeling. He found a way to brand himself in a way that made him stand out. So I think that's super important, is think about how you can niche what you're doing and get yourself in a position where nobody else is doing exactly the way you're doing it. Yeah, they're all selling pens, but like you could write a simple little 50-word blog with a tip on, okay, cool places to leave pens that you never thought about. You know, to help people to consume the thing that you're doing. So maybe at the doctor's office, you pull out your pen, you write it down, you just leave it there. You know, whatever it is, something like that.
So let me share an idea, because Deborah answered the question with such elegance. She's like, well, Brian did a video where he showed himself cooking shrimp scampi. And really a couple things. Number one, as I mentioned earlier, and we talked about Brian, by just creating a lot of different types of content and sharing it, especially on Facebook, that's more engaging because it's different. It's unexpected. Not a lot of people do cooking tutorials on Facebook that are marketers. Not a lot of people do parties with poodles on Facebook. So it's different, and people gravitate to that which is different. At the same time, that was me sharing some of the stuff that's important to me. I love to cook. Now, what you can do is you can simply create, what I learned about marketing as a rock and roll promoter for 15 years or 6 years or whatever it was. And you could create a simple story, and then you can hook that into products that you're selling now. Or it can just be part of your creation story, which is so powerful. Like if I ask people here, hey, where did Apple start? How many people are going to immediately say, oh, well, Apple started in a garage. People know that because it's the creation story, and it's been told over and over again because people want to know, how did they get from here to here?
Right. Also known as the origin story. I've heard it said origin
story. Exactly.
Yeah, I've heard it both ways. So we just got a few more minutes, Brian, because I got to jump at 10. But man, this has been a blast as usual, and I want to have you back on again in the future because, man, we could talk for hours upon hours upon hours. I mean, and we never really even got into how you edit and what your thought process is. I mean, there's so much information inside of that huge head of yours. I'm not saying you have a big head, but
it's the hair.
Yeah, it's the hair. Yes, there's so much information that I love, and that's the thing I love about doing Blabs and love about doing podcasts and interview shows. Is I can bring some really cool people like you, and other people can learn from it, man. And that's what I like to do. Is I like to give great information to people and make sure they're going to spend an hour listening. They're going to get some great stuff out of it. It's got to be a value to people, right?
I totally agree, buddy. And it's always a pleasure to spend some time with you too. And would love to come on again and really talk more about this step by step what to do as far as YouTube goes. Because there's so many people that are like, this is where I put my videos. And in a nutshell, the game really is to create a cohesive channel experience. That's the difference between people that are getting really great results and people that use YouTube to post videos and to be able to get them to their website, which is awesome. But why not get some extra traffic and eyeballs? So thank you, Brian, so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure. And I look forward to hosting you again as well sometime soon.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. Just let me know. Reciprocation. I love it. People want to get a hold of you, Brian. Where is the best way for them to do that?
I'm on YouTube, and I've got 2 poodles to feed. And, that's not going to happen on its own. And I've got a goal of 25,000 to see. This is part of it right here. This is me living the life of a marketer so I can create a book and really share a lot of ideas. And right now what I did there was a strategy. In fact, that is 3 strategies in one. Number 1, I've got a pillow that's more fun and engaging. Number 2, I'm sharing a link to YouTube, but it's not an ordinary link. Number 3, it's a link that when you click it, pops up, you should subscribe to this channel, and that improves the subscriber ratio. So thanks, awesome. Brian. It's been real fun, buddy.
Yeah, no, it's been fabulous. And what is that link, by the way, that you want people to go to?
That's the YouTube channel.
The YouTube, is it Brian G. Johnson? Go to Brian G. Johnson on the YouTube channel or the YouTube channel?
So it's youtube.com/Brian G. Johnson TV.
Awesome. Okay. Yep. I just want to make sure they got that. So when they're watching, they can...
I appreciate it. Or listening. So I'm glad you asked.
Not a problem, dude. All right. Hey,
go ahead. We got it. We got it.
All right, dude. This has been awesome. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for jumping on such short notice. And look at all the engagement we got, man. We got most engagement I think I've ever had on a Blab. It's awesome. So.
Oh, you're just saying that, buddy.
No. People love you, man. We're not worthy. All right, dude. All right. You have yourself an awesome week. We will stay in touch. Till next time, eat more bacon and trust your funnel.
My name is Brian G. Johnson. Poof. Pixie dust.
Awesome, baby. All right. Take care, Brian.